You ever look up into the night sky and see that one little point of light that's, well, red? Yep, that's Mars. It's our next door neighbor in space, and it is absolutely packed with mystery, history, and some of the most wild landscapes you can imagine. So, what is it about this rusty little planet that gets us so excited? Let's get into it. Thousands of years, humanity has just stared at that crimson dot and wondered, is it a god? Is it a dying world? Is it maybe our next home? Think of this as a quick field trip to get to know the red planet, a world that feels so close but is also just so alien. Okay, so to really get a handle on Mars, we gotta know where it is in the grand scheme of things. First things first, let's pinpoint its address in our cosmic neighborhood. Check this out. See that green band? Scientists call that the habitable zone. It's kind of like the Goldilocks zone, the perfect distance from a star where it's not too hot, not too cold, but just right for liquid water to exist. And the fact that both Earth and Mars are sitting right in this sweet spot, that is the #1 reason we are so obsessed with finding out what Mars was like in the past. So they're neighbors in the best part of town, right? But how do they actually compare? Let's put them head to head and see what the differences really are. Being farther out from the sun means Mars has a way longer trip to make around it. Get this. A year on Mars is 687 Earth days. That is almost 2 of our years. Can you imagine having to wait that long for your next birthday? No, thank you. And yeah, that extra distance makes a huge difference in temperature. While we're here on Earth enjoying a pretty comfy 57 degrees Fahrenheit on average, Mars is just a freezing desert. It averages a bone-chilling -81 degrees. So even though it's our neighbor, you're going to need a lot more than a winter coat. But here's a really fun one. Mars is way smaller than Earth, which means its gravity is a lot weaker. On the Martian surface, you'd only weigh about 1/3 of what you do here. So if you can jump, say, a foot high on Earth, you could clear 3 feet on Mars, easy. Everyone's a superstar athlete on the red planet. All right, so we've got the basics down. Let's put on our virtual space boots and actually land on the surface. What's this place really made of? And what would we even see if we were standing there? So the first thing you'd notice is, of course, the color. And the reason Mars is red is actually pretty simple. It's rusty. Seriously, the rocks and the dust are packed with iron, and over billions of years, that iron has basically rusted, giving the entire planet that iconic reddish color. Now, if you could slice the planet open, it would actually look pretty familiar. Just like Earth, it's got a crust, a mantle, and a core. Scientists are still using missions like the InSight lander to figure out exactly how big these layers are and whether that core down there is solid or still molten liquid. And that internal engine created a surface that is truly a world of giants. I'm talking the tallest volcano in the entire solar system, Olympus Mons, and the biggest, grandest canyon, Valles Marineris. These things were able to grow to such an epic size because Mars has weaker gravity and way less erosion from wind and water to wear them down over the eons. But beyond the giant volcanoes and the endless rusty dust lies maybe the most compelling mystery of all, the ghost of the planet that Mars used to be. Our rovers on the ground have sent back some absolutely incredible clues. We're seeing channels that look exactly like dried-up riverbeds here on Earth. We've found these little smooth, rounded rocks that look just like pebbles that have been tumbled around in a flowing stream for centuries. All the evidence, it just points to one mind-blowing conclusion. Mars was not always a frozen desert. And this just shows the transformation perfectly. Billions of years ago, Mars might have looked something like this image on the left, a world with a thicker atmosphere, warmer temperatures, and liquid water. We're talking rivers, lakes, maybe even a huge ocean, a world that just might, have been able to support life. And today, it's the cold, barren world we see on the right. Which, of course, leads to the billion-dollar question. The leading theory is that Mars lost its protective magnetic field, kind of like its shield. And without that shield, the sun's solar wind just blasted its atmosphere away over billions of years. Without that thick atmospheric blanket to trap heat, the planet got colder and colder, and its water either froze solid at the poles and underground, or it was just lost to space forever. Now, this whole dramatic story of a world that changed so much, well, it's fascinated us for centuries, long before we could even dream of sending robots there. So let's take a quick look at how Mars has kind of evolved in our own heads. The ancient Romans, they saw that blood red color and named it for their god of war. Then you fast forward to the 1800s, an astronomer named Percival Lowell looked through his telescope and thought he saw canals, which sparked all these amazing stories of an intelligent Martian civilization. And then, of course, H.G. Wells basically invented the idea of alien invaders with the War of the Worlds. Mars has always been this perfect screen for us to project our biggest fears and our wildest dreams onto. And that brings us right up to today. The story of Mars isn't just about gods and aliens and books anymore. It's about real science, geology, astrobiology, and the very real possibility of sending people to walk on that surface. The red planet is still the ultimate destination, always daring us to go just a little bit farther. We have learned so much, but it seems like every answer just leads to 5 more questions. Was there ever life on Mars? Could there still be life there now, maybe hiding under the surface? As we get ready for the next wave of missions, the red planet is just waiting, holding on to its secrets. The only question is, what will we uncover next?